Well, hi there. The reptile room is open, guys. It's open. For the first time ever, we were able to open it up, and I'm so excited to tell you guys all about it. It's really been quite a week. Last Friday we did our live stream, and then on Saturday I went to my first reptile expo that I've been to since Tinley, actually. I think unless what last year's Wasatch was after Tinley. But I think Tinley was the last one because then the world shut down or some such goodness. And so I got to go to my first reptile expo since the beginning of all the craziness. And so that was the Wasatch Reptile Expo here in Utah, which I love. I love that expo. And Guy, who runs the expo, he asked if we'd come up and kind of help some of the people outside because they had to regulate how many people could come in at a time. So a lot of people were waiting outside for a long time. So I brought Bubba Chunk up there, and we brought some other cool creatures like this one outside, and just we had a great time. Our friend Richard Bilbo, who I'll talk about a little bit more here in a little bit, he came up also with his awesome Eastern indigo snake. If you don't know what that is, like you got to change that right now, right? Like open a second window, type into Google Eastern indigo snake, and you're welcome. Okay, this is the North American king cobra, is what the indigo snake is. They're incredible and amazing and spectacular. But anyway, I am very excited about that. And I didn't talk to very many people about the fact that we were going to open the reptile room on Monday. For one thing, I didn't really want to have a ton of people there just yet for a few reasons. One of them being I didn't know what it was going to be like, right? We had a lot of things to figure out. The other thing is, it's still COVID. And so, we're trying to make sure we bring in a reasonable number, but it was so awesome. And our friend Doug, who's a rad fan on Patreon, he came in, and he was our very first guest on Monday, and then again he was our very first guest on Thursday morning. So he came back. He had such a good time, and it was a blast talking to him. He's got to get some frequent flyer miles or something. But we had a number of you guys come by, and it was awesome. It was super awesome. And I got to mention another thing. This is a big thing. It's all thanks to you guys. It's thanks 100% to you guys, because literally like 2 or 3 months ago, I had decided I don't think we can make it any farther. The room wouldn't have happened without you guys, because I suggested maybe we were thinking about doing the room, and I had decided no. Leisha's joined us. We couldn't afford it. It wasn't the right time, and I just asked you guys, is that something you'd want to contribute to? And so many of you were so generous and contributed to give us the money we needed to start the room. But then COVID hit, and it was just running us out, and I was like, this is we either need to close the doors now or let it run us out of money and then close the doors. But it's not obvious when we're really ever going to be able to make this place work. And the reality is, even now, even though we've got the doors open a little bit so we can have some of you by, what is keeping the room alive has been our face-to-face chats that we've been having with you guys. That has changed everything, and it has been such a blast to meet you. So if you're hearing about the room being open and you're like, well, I'm not in Utah, I can't go, don't worry about it, right? You come someday, right, when it's a little easier to travel and stuff. But for now, you can come virtually via the face-to-face chats. A number of you have already done this, and that's still right now. That still is saving the room. We're opening the doors a little bit. They're open Monday evenings from 5 until 9, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. That's how much they're open. Hopefully in time we'll be able to figure out how to be open a little bit more, but that's never going to keep the reptile room afloat. It's still entirely because of you guys doing the face-to-face chat. So if you want to come see the reptile room, please do. But I want to tell you about our first couple days, because they were amazing and so exciting and wonderful. And so the first day, I didn't know exactly what to expect, but I have these hopes and dreams for what it will be. And I would say that is exactly what we saw. I mean, so many of you came by and you got to have real experiences with awesome animals, handle animals and feed animals and talk about animals. And you know, it's just when you go to the zoo, it's fun. I love the zoo. Zoo is one of my favorite places in the world. But you're looking at animals through glass that usually aren't doing anything. And I've noticed when I go to the zoo, you know, sometimes I can look at an animal for 10 seconds and then move on. If I had that animal at my house, I could watch it for a couple of hours. And I'm like, why? What is the difference? And a lot of it is that you don't get to interact with them. When you have an animal at your house, you know, you can hold it, you can feed it, you can, you know, just interact with it in a lot of ways. And you become a natural part of their world. So they start to behave naturally even in your presence. It's the best, but you don't get that at the zoo. And not everybody can have all the animals. Like I personally, I have a lot of reptiles. I don't have all the reptiles I would like to be able to interact with. And sometimes you know, you don't want to own it, you just want an hour with it. Well, that's what the reptile room does. It gives you the opportunity to come and just interact with these animals like they were yours. And you know, one of the things is I know that changes people's lives. It changes their perceptions of these animals. One of the experiences that got me the most excited was a young couple. They were I think fairly newly married. They came into the reptile room, and the husband, he was kind of like so on reptiles. Like, you know, they'd seen the reptile room and they were excited to come by, but he wasn't like a super reptile person. And his wife was terrified of everything, right down to the emerald tree skinks. Like she was scared of all the creatures.
Zen Habitats and Brian Pesco are here.
Whoa!
Sorry.
I love it. Oh, Zen Habitats.
Hi, Brian.
I'm building the most righteous Zen Habitats enclosure right now. I just want to tell Zen Habitats while you're here, and we will say this again in the video we're making on this. The 4 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot Zen Habitats enclosure is the best Zen Habitats enclosure ever. Not just because it's big, but also because like any issue I ever had with any Zen Habitats enclosure, they have fixed it all. Like it is perfection. I love it. Anyway, great work. So happy with that. And Brian, hi.
We're looking forward to our trip to Hawaii someday.
Yeah, we are someday. All right.
All right.
But anyway, that couple came in, and you know, at first, you know, they were having a fun time, but you know, like they weren't wanting to hold very many things. The husband, he was a little bit more enthusiastic about holding some of the things. After a while, I mean, you know, his wife didn't even want the emerald tree skinks to jump on her, and they're so cute and wonderful and endearing. She kind of, after a while, though, fell in love with a hognose snake, and she was able to touch the hognose snake, and then all of a sudden, she was handling a Kenyan sand boa.
Not all of a sudden, she was crying.
Well, it wasn't.
She was excited to do it,
Yeah,
and loving it,
well,
but her eyes were watering.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell that part. Don't worry, I didn't forget that. But I don't know how she exactly transitioned from barely touching a hognose to she's holding a Kenyan sand boa. She was so afraid, though, that tears were flowing out of her eyes. Like she was in tears. But she had a good experience with him. And then, like 20 minutes later, she's handling a ball python all by herself, FaceTiming her whole family. She's like, this is the greatest place ever. You've all got to come here. You know, and her husband's like, I kind of want to get a pet snake now. Like, it was everything that the reptile room is supposed to be. And I don't know, I loved it. What were your thoughts? Do you have anything?
No, it was fun. There was a big family that came in, and they were all really sweet. The little girl had a ball python, and so she was obsessed with just holding all the snakes because her parents were letting her get one, and so she was just so excited to hold all the snakes. And the dad, Clint got to kind of talk about some misconceptions with the dad. He was saying like the bull snakes around here are super mean.
Oh yeah.
On it.
Yeah, I got to show him what our gopher snakes are actually like, and talk to him about how to socialize them. He's like, man, I always thought they were super mean. They are not. They're not. They're so pleasant. Our gopher snakes around you. No, it was so wonderful, and I'm so excited about it. And it's alive because of you guys. It was born because of you guys. It's alive now because of you guys. I see Anthony's here. It's a large part alive just because of Anthony. You know, it has been so wonderful. And then on top of that, like, not only do we love it because it's keeping the room alive, because all it is, like really, I don't even want to say a number. We had spent a huge sum of money to us, because we are not wealthy, a huge sum of money on just keeping the room going, and it's like, we can't do this forever. And now, like, we're putting all this work into it. It's not making money, but it's not running us into the ground, and that's all we care about. We just want this place to exist. And thank you guys. It's all because of you. So anyway, if you can't come in person,
I would like it to make money. I would like to keep eating.
Well, we have other ways to keep eating, but sort of. We've never eaten well, okay? But we eat. Yes, we've always had enough. We've always had enough. And so anyway, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I'm so excited. I'll try to keep you guys updated. If you can't come in person just yet, come digitally. Like that's the joy of it all.
What did you say? Come digitally?
Come digitally.
I thought you thought you used like some diddly dee.
Come diddly dee. Diddly diddly doo. Oh dear.
Oh dear. Should we get into some super chats?
Let's get into some.
Do you want to show me your super chat button?
Super chat button.
That's some totally mad.
Ka-chow, ka-chow, ka-chow.
Okay.
All right. I just have to do that line until Lisa's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I asked."
Anthony said, "Hello, my friend. Just curious if you'd ever thought about making a Discord for all of Clint's humans to interact."
I saw you guys chatting about that. We talked about Discord a little while back. Here's the problem. I don't know anything about Discord.
It seems like your team was kind of split. Some people were like, "Well, maybe we could," and me and Clint were like, "We have no idea what that is."
Yeah. I need to learn more about Discord. I'll tell you what I would strongly encourage. Maybe it'll be a place for me to learn about Discord. If you guys want to create a Discord server, like, I'm not going to be able to moderate it. Even if we created one, like, I wouldn't be able to be moderating it all the time. But if you guys wanted to create one as a community to chat with each other, sort of like there's an awesome Clint Reptiles fans Facebook group. We don't have anything to do with it, but we love that it exists. We love that you guys are communicating with each other, answering each other's questions. We always love for you to do that in the comments on the videos. And so maybe if one existed that was created by you guys, I could learn a little something about Discord and decide if that'd be a good fit for us. And and Anthony, we should chat more about it, because you probably know more about it than I do. In fact, if you've done more than heard about it and had 2 conversations about it, you know more about Discord than I do.
Yeah. So. Charlotte Cook said, "Are you planning on doing a Brazilian rainbow boa vid? I recently got a BCI boa on your recommendation. His name is Hogan, and he's a sweetheart."
I will be perfectly honest with you guys. I've been wanting to do a video on Brazilian rainbow boas for 3 years. Right? You guys ask every week. People are like, "Can you do Brazilian rainbow boas?" And I really want to. But we live in a dry climate, and Brazilian rainbow boas, they have problems with dehydration. I have had a huge problem finding a Brazilian rainbow boa. I seriously, I've been looking for 3 years. They're nowhere. So I don't know where to find an adult Brazilian rainbow boa. But there might have been a breakthrough on that one.
Such a nut. Clean your camera a little. Looks like
I can't decide if that's what's causing it or not. Yeah. I have no idea what to clean it with.
Okay, while you're cleaning that, let's see. Mr. and Mrs. Morelia, I recognize this name. You guys are the best. They have been Team Leisha.
That looks way better, I would say.
Yeah.
I have no idea how that camera would get dirty, but I guess, yeah, I always grab it by the camera.
Mr. and Mrs. Morelia said, "Hey, Clint and Leisha, we still haven't scheduled a one-on-one yet because I keep spending money on getting more snakes."
That happens. I understand.
Anthony Simone, our friend. I should just say Anthony these days.
Yeah, well, I think we can be on first name basis with Anthony. Yeah.
He sent $20 and said, "Hello, my friend. Just curious, how's Greenie doing?"
So good. Okay, so this is like giant spoilers, but here we are. So sometimes I don't want to give spoilers. Apparently I'm giving spoilers.
There's only 164 of us. That's an intimate group.
Oh yeah. We're a tight group.
Yeah, you can give spoilers.
Okay, so we just actually filmed our new enclosure build for him. I built an enclosure that would have been great if you were a little bit younger. But we needed something bigger, and so when Zen Habitats contacted us about whether or not we'd like another one of their rad enclosures, we said, yeah, could we get the 4 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot? It's PVC. It is so rad. It's so rad. I don't know, Jason, if you have a link for this. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, go check it out. It's an awesome enclosure. Yeah, and it's the best one ever, and we'll have a whole video on the enclosure build for it. But I'm super excited. It's beautiful. It's huge.
Tell them how you started out the video. You are such a nug. You just look at the camera and do a giggle.
I wanted to be a surprise.
Even for the 173 who are intimate.
Yeah, but then other people will watch it later. We can't just block this out. Well, let's just put it this way. This enclosure is big enough to be my enclosure.
All right, good one. And how's Greeny doing?
So well. Though I'm nervous because today I'm going to move him into the new enclosure. It's the first time I've had him out since his little adventure. So, wish me luck.
Good luck.
Okay, here's my policy today. I don't trust him at all like I trust the emerald tree skinks, because if he gets on the ground, I know where he could go. And thing number 2, if he does get on the ground, I grab him right away, even if he bites me, because
at least we're together.
At least we have each other.
That's what you say every time. It makes me giggle every time, because he's like, I don't even care if he's biting me. That means at least we have each other. So cute. So just here in the stream, somebody, Red Rocket, said, "Hi Clint, I'm Neil from a little East Coast town in England. I've been watching you for a few months now. I've kept reptiles for 15 years. Just wanted to say you are great. The best. You are great. The best YouTube channel." Well, thank you so much. Thanks, Neil. That is super nice of you to say. And Amanda, our friend Amanda from Ramen Reptiles, sent a super chat. She said, "Hey Clint, I practically live on Discord if anyone needs help with that. Also, Tarek the Tiger is doing amazing. Didn't realize how different interaction was with them until I got one." We got to see Amanda in person on Saturday. Oh yeah. Did I? For sure. I didn't. I was gone. We got to chat, and she just got herself a adorable baby tegu, still has all the green on its head and stuff. Awesome. I can't wait to see an exact life-sized replica of, is it Taro? It's T-A-R-O-T, so I don't know. I think Taro the Tegu? Yeah. Cool. And if we decide Discord, we might be reaching out, Amanda. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And Anthony just said, "My friend about reptiles, do you see slowly but surely starting to become more available captive bred?" Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I mean, a really obvious one are things like blood pythons and stuff that are becoming much more common captive bred, and we're discovering that they're much more pleasant than we used to think of them as being. Let's see. It seems like some of the skinks I'm seeing pop up, emerald tree skinks, I've at least seen them available, sort of. Like I at least see people that have them. Same thing with fire skinks. Fire skinks are starting to appear in greater numbers. I think the Peter's banded skinks, it seems like some people are starting to work with those a little bit more. So things like Draco volans, which I would have just told you in the past, just never ever get one. Some people are starting to produce those captive bred. Let's see. Oh, there's some really good ones that I've been thinking about a lot. I'll come up with more as time goes on. Oh, what was it? I saw somebody who had hatchling basilisks. That's cool. So basilisks are stinking rad, but I normally wouldn't advise getting them. But they're starting to become a thing. Dragon Whisperer, who is now your friend, you've done a few things with him. The assist feeding with the blind dragon has been doing awesome, thanks to you. Oh, so good. If you guys don't know about Dragon Whisperer, you should check out his YouTube channel. He is running. Sorry, just saying. He is running a really, really amazing reptile rescue, primarily for bearded dragons and a lot of other cool animals, and he's just starting to build his YouTube channel. He's getting a lot of the equipment that he's going to need to really make it an awesome channel. But go over there, subscribe, support him, because like he is working so hard. I don't think he's he's investing. He has another job, right?
He invests all of his money basically into these dragons and other animals to give them a second chance. And some of them have special needs and things. He's awesome. He's awesome. So go check out the Dragon
He's
Whisperer.
a big poop today, and the paralyzed dragon is eating well too.
Yes. All right. That is so great to hear.
And Alex Haley said, "Any tips on keeping
Caecilians?
That's the one. What are Caecilians?
So there are 3 groups of amphibians that like big groups. 2 of them most people know about. So they know about the frogs and toads, and they know about the salamanders and newts. Most people aren't as familiar with the Caecilians, which are these legless, worm-like, generally aquatic or fossorial, which means they live underground in damp areas, amphibians that they're so cool. They've got a borderline placenta, but it's this gill thing that comes off of their head.
Oh,
so they've got internal fertilization. They're so rad and weird. I have seen some places that keep aquatic Caecilians. I know the Loveland Living Planet Aquarium, which is a really cool aquarium in Utah. In fact, if you have connections with the Living Planet Aquarium, we'd love to collaborate with you guys and show off some of your cool animals, because there are some things there we would really like to talk about. But sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah. But anyway, they keep them there, and I think in a lot of ways, they're very similar to keeping something like a rope fish. So they're it's a lot like keeping a fish, keeping an aquatic Caecilian, and some people do. I would assume things like water quality are probably extremely important for them because they take in so much stuff through their skin. Anyway.
Those are your tips?
Those are my tips.
Awesome. Anthony just sent $25.
Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you for supporting us, Anthony.
He's incredible.
He said, so my friend, this is a good question. I like it. So funny question here. In some videos, you compare getting an unreasonable pet to getting a pet bear. But in reality, what would be the best pet bear?
Probably a sloth bear or a sun bear. Those would be fairly quasi-reason. Okay, so there are really two schools of thought on this. Which bear is best?
Yeah.
Right.
Serious business.
Yes. So, why do you want a bear? Right? Because a sloth bear or a sun bear, those are fairly reasonably sized bears that are pretty unlikely to kill you, which is delightful, unless that's what you want in a bear, right? Because then you're going to want something like a Kodiak, like Bart, the giant Kodiak brown bear. That would be an impressive pet bear. And so,
didn't he die?
Oh yeah, I think there's a Bart 2 now with a vengeance. I don't know if there's a with a vengeance. I think that should be the sequel name to every movie that's a sequel.
Jason is arguing via text. He says false, black.
False, black bear. Well, but Dwight.
Bears, Battlestar Galactica.
Yep. Which bear is best? False, black bear.
Okay, let's see. Jason A, this is cool. He sent $10 and said, I'm an admin for Reptile Keepers for Brian Barczyk on Facebook. We love your videos and regularly share them with members when they have a question you've already answered.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you guys are finding them helpful. I had a comment just the other day. It kind of stood out to me. They were like, they were complaining about the title of our videos, that it's always like the best pet snake or lizard or reptile or invertebrate or whatever, and it's like, why is it always the same? That's boring. I'm like, well, because all of our videos are the same, right? We go out of our way to make them the same. We want this to be a resource and a library of information that you can turn to, and you can have the same criteria for basically every kind of rad pet we can think of.
If Clint has created the channel that he wished existed.
Yes.
I remember when he was looking into getting a Tegu years and years and years ago, he was looking all over YouTube for people interact. He wanted to see how they interacted, to see like how they, if you could pet them and play with them, and how people interacted with them. And I remember he found one of a guy napping on a couch with a Tegu, and he's like, "See, they're so amazing."
It really, like, that's why we go. It's something that, one of the hard things about making these videos, really hard, and you probably could guess that this is hard, is finding adult animals of every single animal that we cover, so I can actually be interacting with them. Like, it would be so much, like, I could just get a little bit of footage and make videos about everything super easy. It wouldn't be that hard. You can even just pull it off of other YouTube videos. But then you don't get a feel for what it's like to actually be with these animals, and that is so valuable to me. It's something that I really care about, and then the other information as well. Like I want to know that, because so often, the only way for you to actually know, like, what would it be like to have a rainbow boa, is to go get a stinking rainbow boa and either be like, okay, rainbow boa is great, or be like, rainbow boa is not what I thought it would be. And there are reptiles that I've had over the years that it's like, I researched the heck out of it and it isn't what I thought it would be. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, and I wanted to know that up front. So anyway.
Yeah, great resource. Should we head over to Super Chapter? To
Patreon. Let's do it. Patreon.
Let's see if I can go lower than you.
How low can she go? Patreon.
I'm pretty low.
Oh yeah,
right?
No, you're low.
Low, can you go? Okay, sorry. Anthony says, "Hello, my friend. What is the rarest, most endangered reptile/animal you've seen while herping?"
That I've seen while herping. Well, I found a bunch of desert tortoises here recently. That's a good one. While herping. That might be it for me on a herping adventure. And it's funny because we couldn't find all sorts of common reptiles. There are tons of common reptiles we couldn't find. What we did find were the endangered desert tortoises, and we found 3 of them.
Ashley said, "I'm thinking of adding some springtails and isopods to my garter snake enclosure.
Good idea.
We have 2 2020 babies. Are there certain types of isopods that are better at cleaning than others? How do you know how many to add? We have them in a 20-gallon enclosure right now, as they are still very small. Thanks." All
right, so I'll give you the rundown on isopod adding. There are a few species of isopods that can chew on your reptiles a little bit. There's some, you're probably not going to get them on accident. They're usually kind of expensive isopods. They're really cool, and they're cool looking, so people that like to keep isopods like to keep them. But there are a lot of kinds that are frequently sold as cleanup crews, and those are all going to be good. With garter snakes, I wouldn't worry about the snakes eating the isopods, so really any good cleanup crew isopod that you think is cool and that fits the humidity and stuff of your particular enclosure would be a great choice. As for numbers, if you put 1 isopod in there and you want to have a colony, it must be a gravid female, or you will not have a colony. If you put 2 isopods in there, there's only a 50-50 chance that you've got a pair. If you put 3 isopods in there, there's a 25% chance that you've got a pair, and so on. So the more that you add up front, the more likely it is that you will have at least 1 pair that can reproduce together, and then their population should grow on its own after that.
Is there a point where there's too many?
Well, if it's now carpeted in isopods, that's
gross.
Sorry, Leash. You used to have trypophobia. Good thing you're over that.
Trypophobia anymore.
Good thing she's over that. She's decided, as you can tell. It's quite obvious. She's way past it.
Okay.
This is real, by the way.
All right, Ricky Troy. Mostly. By the way, do you want to tell them about the Patreon?
Patreon, honestly, is like the biggest blessing for us. Thank you guys so much for what you do. So we have a lot of features to Patreon because Patreon is so important for this channel, for us to be able to keep going, for us to take trips to rad places and show you new things. We're actually planning a trip at the end of this month. It'll be my first time traveling in the COVID era, so it'll be kind of strange. But we're going to go down to Florida and check out Camp Kennan and a few other awesome places down in Florida and show you some animals that normally we just wouldn't be able to show you.
Who are you going with?
I'm going with this Kaufman fellow, Beardy. Maybe you've seen him around.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I need to book my tickets for that. So anyway, well, that kind of thing is possible because of Patreon, and so to pay our patrons forward, our rad fans, our stinking rad fans, we have a lot of cool features. We got a super secret Patreon podcast. We've got extra videos, and we've got questions that they can submit for the live streams, and we try to get through every one of them every time.
Yep,
and I do a special voice. Patreon.
The videos are actually really cool, and every time they're on Patreon, Clint's like, "Oh man, I want everyone to see this."
Yes.
Such good videos. And the questions, let's get through them today.
Let's do it. Patreon.
This is Ricky. also that you should not move a turtle you find very far, like when you catch it crossing the road, because it will spend the rest of its life trying to find its way back or may even die. Is this true? Mainly I'm asking about box turtles, but I guess the question applies to snapping turtles as well.
So they're not going to spend the rest of their life wandering around. Turtles actually have a lot of them, especially those that, well, I mean, you'll notice this because of sea turtles and the things they can do. Sea turtles travel all over the world and they return to the beach on which they hatched to lay their eggs, which is a pretty crazy thing. And turtles have this incredible homing sense. And you know, their ability to home is great, which is really important, especially for like those desert tortoises we found. They live in a burrow somewhere, and they don't want to be digging a new burrow every night, right? That's not really reasonable, and so they might wander around for a while, but they're going to come back to their burrow. I would say your biggest concern if you move a turtle across the road is that you'll move it to the wrong side of the road, and it will attempt to cross back at some point later that day. If you move it super duper far, probably it will just set up camp somewhere else. But I'd be interested. I don't know if there have been any like GPS tracking studies done on them to see how far they'll go before they just go, this is far enough. That's a really interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
And I just don't know the answer. So if you do, let me know.
Hunter Harding said, would you be able to do more ball python genetics videos, like potentially identifying the individual genes in combination marks, for example?
Oh, maybe.
People don't like them.
Yeah, the thing about the ball python genetics videos is they're not really about ball python genetics. They're about genetics, period. And I use ball pythons as my example, and so it's very widely applicable. You know, if you're thinking about breeding really anything, those ball pythons genetics videos are going to be fairly similarly useful to you. And not that many people watch them because people think genetics is boring, and it's not. It's stinking rad, but they don't know that because a lot of teachers, I think, can make genetics seem extremely boring. It's not. It's stinking rad. Anyway, so if there's more interest in that in the future, like I would love doing something like that. There's definitely a lot of topics in biology that are relevant to reptiles I'd like to talk about. Right now, I just kind of ninja them into our other videos because people don't want to learn about the rad science.
Okay, Benjamin Bramble said, also, I wonder how we come up with care sheets for animals, specifically for space requirements for lizards.
Well, it depends. Usually it's people that have been keeping this animal for a long time and in large numbers, and they're sort of reporting on what's been successful for them, and then they're discussing it with other keepers. They're hopefully looking at the primary literature and at the wild habitats, which is actually why I love Dave Kaufman's In the Wild videos so much, because he goes to where those animals are found and takes all kinds of readings and stuff. It's kind of a snapshot of that moment in time in that area, but it's still really cool. And I think it shows you something you don't normally see. But there's a lot that goes into a good care sheet. And it's part of the reason that we don't make detailed care sheets and everything. I don't think YouTube is the right format for it. And you know, I don't have that kind of experience with every single animal we cover. So I keep it to the level that I can tell you with some confidence. And I sort of trust that you will seek out really great care sheets in the future. Look at that.
Okay.
How cool is that?
That's really cool.
This is a great day. Why is he going straight for the camera? He's phenomenal.
Is that the male?
He is so far out, guys. Look at that. That was amazing. Boas are cool.
I'm a little bit scared to ask you this next question.
Oh, as you should be.
I'm a little bit scared that you're going to spend the rest of the live stream talking.
All right.
Is
it from Anthony?
This is from Cythera. If Lego contacted you and gave you the power to create any Lego set you wanted, what would you make? Oh no.
Any Lego set I wanted.
Oh, and Richard Bilbo's here.
Oh, he's on here.
Yeah, that's what
Richard. Thank you so much. I know you didn't want any special attention, but I've got to tell you guys this right now. I've been holding this secret up. Obviously, this is a Brazilian rainbow boa. Maybe not obviously, but now you know. This is a Brazilian rainbow boa. I guess I hinted at it before, but I didn't say nothing. When Richard came up here, he brought his indigo snake, which I was excited about, and he brought these Brazilian rainbow boas. And these because he brought a pair of Brazilian rainbow boas. And I was so excited to see that he had those because when we filmed a video with his indigo snake, we would also film with his Brazilian rainbow boas. I was over the moon. And then he told me, sort of in passing, that he wanted me to have them. Not the indigo snake. Things aren't that insane in the world. But he wanted me to have the Brazilian rainbow boas, which I didn't. I mean, like the whole rest of the day, people are like, "Are these yours?" And I'm like, I guess, but that seems like that. I have to have understood him wrong, right? Like that is. How can somebody be so kind and generous? Like I did something like, no, that surely he means something else. Well, I now have a pair of adult Brazilian rainbow boas, and there will be a video in the future on them, as well as some other incredible snakes that Richard has. He's going to come up here. It's like a 2-hour plus drive for him to get up here to where we film, and so thank you, Richard. Anyway.
Richard's the best. His name's been floating around in our conversations the last week because he's just so amazing and so generous.
Oh yeah.
We've been super thankful.
Wait, I gotta get back to the Lego question.
Oh yeah.
Any Lego set I want. So honestly, like the ones that jump to mind are ones that probably already exist. Like, I would love an AT-AT, which is the large Imperial Walker from Star Wars.
Have one of those?
No,
Which
but
I bought you an.
You bought me a B-wing.
Oh,
I love the B-wing. It was such a cool Lego set. Alicia bought it for me off eBay because we've always had enough. But it came with almost all the pieces. I had to ninja a few of them in there from other sets that I had, but I was able to complete the B-wing, and it is like self-balancing so that the cockpit area stays level, even though they can change conformation to be sideways or vertical. Anyway, it was so cool. Then my kids threw it down the stairs and it blew up, and I haven't had a B-wing since then. The AT-AT, the B-wing I love B-wings. They're so cool. And the thing is for me, and this has always been a thing with me with Legos. You were right, Leash. I'm going to spend the rest of the day talking about Legos.
Yeah,
but Legos, I've always loved Legos. And even when I was a little kid, I had to have all of my Lego sets be symmetrical. Or ridiculously not symmetrical. And that is what the B-wing gives you. In fact, the very same B-wing can be a symmetrical ship or a super duper asymmetrical ship. So cool. Anyway, but I think my very favorite Star Wars vehicle is the AT-AT, the Walker from. You see it first in Empire Strikes Back in the Battle of Hoth. Yeah, it's the one that they go around it with the tow cables on the snow speeders and trip them up. Luke goes up the one with his little grappling hook like Batman and cuts it open with a lightsaber and throws probably a thermal detonator in there, blows that sucker up. Anyway, they're so cool. But also, there's also this Lego Jurassic Park stuff. So I suppose it would be pretty amazing to have all of Jurassic Park as a Lego set. But I don't think I would like that even as well as the AT-AT. So, and that probably exists.
Wouldn't you make like a Australian zoo Lego set or something?
Nah, I've always been more into spaceships than the animal Legos. Sorry, Lego. I love the animal Legos, but the problem with the animal Legos is they either look not very good, or they're basically just a toy. It's not something you can build into other stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so they're okay. I'm not anti animal stuff, but spaceships. That's where you go, especially around them like that.
Oh, this is a good. Let's do this last Patreon question. We'll jump over to
Patreon. Final Patreon.
We'll jump over to super chats and then we'll come back to Patreon.
Oh, there's more. Okay, there's some more Patreon.
Benjamin Bramble said, "My friend, I reached out a while back about using his. Oh, sorry. My friend and I reached out a while back about using his Russian rat snake for a video.
Oh yeah.
And I wondered when you wanted to set that up if you're still interested. I also have Wilma pythons if you want to make that happen. It was great to see you at the expo too. Thanks for being so great."
I just talked to him at the expo, and my instructions still stand. So we are scheduled out through the end of this month with what we're gonna film. But if you the first. We will be available probably sometime in November to film something. So maybe starting the first launch of a video in November. If you could comment, is this a good week? I'll say yay or nay, but it'll probably.
Always want them to.
What should comment then?
Tell them about your 90s self.
My 90s self?
Yeah, when you always say I would have done really well in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, I would have done great in the 90s with no email or texting.
Just a pager in that.
Yeah, pager would have been fine because I like phone calls. But the thing is, like, there's just a lot more communication coming from all sorts of angles than I can personally deal with every day. And so, but the time that I really try to comment, respond to every single comment is that first hour after we launch. And so we launch our videos at 8 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday mornings. And for that first hour and change, I'm there. This last week I was only there for half an hour because of the expo, but usually like I am there and I try to respond to every single comment. And so if you really need to contact me, that's a way, or super chats, or those are the things that I see all of
them. Victoria Usher, who you did a face to face with, said, "I Clint and Leisha finally catching my first stream, watching with my Leland X."
Not watching with what?
MAM.
MAM, and then what was the next thing?
Leland, and then an X because she's from Great Britain, and then Great Britain they do X, so they do X. Are you okay?
I accidentally bumped him in the face. Sorry, buddy. Snakes don't like that. That's one of the things I always tell people. I'm like, they don't like to be poked in the face for some reason. For
your first life.
Yeah, I'm trying. MAM.
I don't know if that's mom or.
Oh, could be. Well, it's so good to have you. And if you can clarify what an MAM is, I'll be even more excited.
Mark Daniel said, "Your snake's name, and will you be making an enclosure vid?"
Okay, so I don't know. I might be putting. We've got several more enclosure videos filmed right now. They're difficult for us to film, and they're difficult for us to edit and everything. And so I'm kind of gonna wait on deciding if we're gonna film a lot more enclosure videos until kind of we see how much interest there is in those videos, because we have so many other things we want to cover that it's like whenever we put our effort into one place, we're taking it from another, and so we'll be deciding on that. But I will discuss enclosures of these snakes in our video on them. I think I might have names for both of them. So a lot of times, I think these rings on their back are called annuli, and a lot of times they're just circles. But you can see a lot of these are linked together. So I am tempted to name this snake Link.
No.
Well, back off, Leash, because
too nerdy.
Leisha thinks Zelda's too nerdy. Get out of town, Leisha. She's just never played Zelda. She doesn't know.
I played before.
It's Lincoln Rad.
You made me play when we were newlyweds.
Lincoln Rad. Okay, it's an amazing group of games.
You can call him Lincoln Rad.
If you guys think that Link would be a good name for him, let me know. I will tell you the other one, the female. And they're better. They're considerably better than this. She's got a lot of Mickey Mouse heads on her, like hidden Mickeys. And so I kind of want to name her Minnie, which ruins any sort of theme because it made sense to name them like Mickey and Minnie or Link and Zelda.
No, his name's Lincoln Rad and her name's Minnie. Lincoln Rad.
We'll save the day.
Lincoln Rad.
Here comes to save the Princess Zelda.
Okay, stop. Jen's right.
Zelda is awesome. All right, if you think Zelda's awesome, let us know. If you're like Zelda's lame, if you're on Team Leisha, Team Zelda is lame Leisha, then you can let us know that too.
Jens Rosander said, "Hi from Sweden. Your video about Argentine tick you have made me to start to prepare to get one."
They're so awesome.
Sweden. I'm so happy you're here from Sweden. That's amazing.
It is so crazy. Like we've got friends all over the world. It's the darndest thing.
Mr. and Mrs. Morelia said, "Our first two snakes were all Clint's fault. BCI Nick named Nick and Jungle Carpet named Victoria. Coastal Morelia ever since."
Yeah, and here it's gonna get worse. Like we're just gonna keep making these videos. It's gonna destroy.
So when Clint and I were very first married, we went to one of our first expos together as a newlywed couple, And there was a girl who worked at BYU with him that said, I really want a little lizard. Can you find me like a really cute?
Well, a reptile. I don't even think
I
she
thought
was.
it was a lizard.
No, I don't think she specified. She's like, will you find me a good pet reptile?
Will you find me a cute little reptile that's easy to care for and stuff? So we went, and it was when crested geckos were kind of a brand new thing. And he found this crested gecko, and it was a little baby, so cute. And Clint fell in love with that crested gecko and said, sorry, I'm keeping her.
Yep. And so I got her a corn snake, and she loved the corn snake and got more corn snakes.
Yes,
so
but
everything
that's
like
not
that.
the moral of the story.
Oh, the moral of the story is
We started off with one crested. Please, can we just keep this cute little crested gecko? It's so little. We'll just make a pretty little tank for it. And now here we are.
yay!
The rest is history.
It's a miracle.
It's never ending. It's an addiction.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's see. Captain Moe 13. Oh, cute Captain Moe. I did it. Hi, Alicia. This is Doug. Oh, Doug.
Doug.
He just sent $20. Doug is a Patreon and he's the one that was telling.
He's the first ever visitor to the Reptile Room on open days.
Yeah.
And he's the first ever visitor on a Thursday morning. No big deal.
Yep.
And we saw him on Saturday. I've seen Doug 3 times this week. How many times have you seen him?
Doug's an awesome guy. I really liked meeting him and his wife. He was so nice. So he said, hi, Alicia. This is Doug. It was wonderful to meet you and your beautiful family on Monday. I just want to share with people from a visitor's perspective that the Reptile Room is awesome. It is exactly what Clint says it is. Thank you for saying that. Because I'm always a little nervous. Like, oh, I hope people feel like, like it's not all this hype. Like, I hope they're having a good time and they're having the experience that we really hope for them to have. And so thank you for saying that.
It's meant a lot for me to hear that too, because the Reptile Room is not what I want it to be yet. And
it's great. And it's a fun experience.
Oh yeah.
We want it to get even better.
Well, yeah, I just like mostly, there were enclosures that I set up on a temporary basis, and I intended for them to be temporary, and then the world fell apart, and they're still not the permanent enclosures for those animals. But I'm like, I feel bad if people think that's what they are, and so it's like when I look at it, sometimes I'm like, it's not what I want it to be yet, but seeing the responses of the people.
So thanks for saying that, Doug. That was really nice. And then Anthony just sent $100.
And just real quick, okay, it was saying our connection was slow for a second. Okay.
Anthony just sent $100.
Well, Anthony.
For the Reptile Room, my friend, you deserve it. It's hard to feel deserving of that generosity.
Yeah, all I can say is, as a group, I feel like we as a community have created the Reptile Room, and it is a wonderful thing that I feel like is going to do a ton. I mean, can I tell them something about the town of Springville?
Yeah.
It's in the town of Springville, Utah. It's right on Main Street, and Springville has the craziest snake laws, at least in Utah, really, that I've seen anywhere. You're not allowed to have a snake over 4 feet that ever gets over 4 feet. You're not allowed to have a snake that's a constrictor or venomous. Okay? Those are the laws. Which is pretty much everything. That's all the things, right? I mean, even you can have a ringneck snake, I guess. They just start swallowing stuff generally. That's it, right? And I one time talked to one of the animal control people there, and the law says no venomous snakes or lizards. Okay? Which I believe, based on the English language, means you're not allowed to have venomous snakes or venomous lizards. But he interprets it to mean no venomous snakes and no lizards of any kind. Okay? Those are the laws at present in Springville, Utah. That was Utah State laws on traffic. But I feel like, as a business, we're allowed to have those animals there. As a person, you're not. And my hope is that the Main Street was starting to kind of wither a little bit, and we've brought something that's like a destination right there. And I feel like people in that community are going to get to be there, and people who are leaders in that community are going to be there, and they're going to hear from their friends and their family that came to the Reptile Room, and maybe things start to change for the people who live in Springfield, Utah. You know, like I have this vision that it just like is this chain reaction thing that just grows as people get to have this real experience.
Yeah. So thank you, Anthony, for supporting us. You're awesome. And Noscavian sent $5. That's a Brazilian rainbow boa.
No big deal.
And Mr. and Mrs. Morelia said, I bet Clint likes the AT-AT because it looks like a turtle.
Kind of like a snapping turtle.
Yeah.
That's the only turtles that walk like that. Yeah.
Sherry LB said $10.
Sherry.
She said, Sherry's a fan.
Oh, yeah.
Need name suggestions for female children's python. Other snakes are Sketty, Campanelle, Zitty, the garters, and Nim, the corn. So no real pattern, LOL.
I always think that children's pythons look a little bit like green anacondas, so you could name it Annie.
Cute. Anthony said, if Robin Williams can name his daughter Zelda, then you can name your boa Link.
You're darn right.
Mr. and Mrs. Morelia said,
and if Frank Zappa can name his kids Moon Unit and Dweezil, you can name your kids anything you want.
Who?
Frank Zappa named his kids Moon Unit.
Frank Zappa?
He's a musician from back in the day.
And he named his kid what?
Moon Unit and Dweezil.
That's almost as weird as Elon Musk's kids' name.
What are their names?
Like Y29 or something like that.
Oh, we should have just coded our children.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Morelia said, your live streams make my week. Thanks for continuing.
Oh, I am so glad. Yeah, this has been really fun, and I'm glad that we're still doing them.
We've not known if we should continue or stop or what we should do, so it's good to get your feedback.
Absolutely. We'll just tell like, what are your kids' names? I'm like, I don't know. We just got a 1.2 group.
I thought that we moved. Oh dear. Okay, Anthony just said what's his favorite musician/bands. I'm a singer myself. Did you know that?
I do.
I did.
I ask Anthony to sing for me sometimes. He plays the piano.
He does?
He doesn't think he plays the piano. He doesn't play the piano like you don't play the piano. But yeah. he can play the piano.
I'm a fan of everything from the 50s to the early 90s, and my favorite bands are the Beatles and Queen.
Oh, well, those are some killers.
Yep.
Killer Queen. So anyway, and obviously, like we've actually sung to both of those. So I like both of them a lot. Most of my life, I have been a huge fan of the band Backstreet. Also, Simon and Garfunkel is a major one for me. Of course, this will fit right in with my personality. Rise Against.
You're such a
I like music. Okay. But also the Beatles, because I have met people that don't like the Beatles. All of their judgment is to be questioned.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. I do like those classics, the 50s through the 90s. Like those. I really love big band music too. I don't know, big band music and like when you listen to recordings and it's like all fuzzy from the record player. I love that crinkly fuzzy noise. And I love show tunes.
Crackling noise from the record player. So, anyway, here you go.
Well, we like music.
I have an eclectic taste in music. I basically like all music except for the stuff that Lisa likes really well.
I'm not listening to show tunes and big band music. It's like coffee shop folky music, and I like Paper Kites and what's her face, Grace Vanderwall,
and it's funny. I like music that is a little bit melancholy or expresses a lot of the feels that I don't personally experience all that often.
Expresses a lot to me. And so when it's like chill and you can put your own interpretation on it, then you can listen to it for a long, long time and interpret it in many, many different ways.
Word.
We argue about music often. Okay. Yeah. Did I stutter? Okay. What?
Carry on.
Mr. and Mrs. Morelia said another $5.
Oh, everybody, thank you.
Thank you so much. They said last one, we were all thankful for Anthony Simone.
Oh, yes.
Sherry LBW said, Anna it is. I told her to not get any ideas while we watched Anaconda the other day, so it's it.
Don't you get any ideas.
Let's see.
If they lay next to you, they're sizing you up for to eat you. Children's pythons eat people all the time.
Oh dear.
That's why they're called children's pythons.
Scottish Rob once said, oh, Jessica's calling. Sorry. Reptile chat involving Star Wars, Lego, gaming, and Zappo. What can ask for more? Clint, you rock, my man. Cheers to your Kansas City Chiefs.
Go Chiefs! Had a good year.
How does it go?
Like that?
No, the song. Oh, okay. Let's hop over to Patreon and do a lightning round.
Okay, Patreon.
Patreon.
Yeah, I almost hit my button.
Patreon.
The speaker is on the bottom of this button. And lately I've been having it here, but it gets so muffled. So today I was like, I could have the button upside down. And now I'm like, when do I hit the button? Oh yeah,
Okay, these last few
this is lightning round.
on Patreon. I don't know, they're kind of.
I'm pretty hyper in lightning rounds. I don't know if I can do that with a snake.
Okay, Elizabeth Dyson, who's a friend, said, "Hi, Clint. My toads have been very secretive lately. I think they have decided to become carthamoral and adopt nocturnal habits. I know they're still alive. I know they are still alive as their water is always dirty in the morning when I get up. I've also found some info about them in a book I've bought, and while it doesn't actually mention hibernation or brumation, it says my species are active between March and October. It is now October. They're unbeaten flies. There are unbeaten flies in the enclosure. Do you think I should slow down the feeding to every other day? They're only 6 months old."
Yeah, I'd say if you've got flies still in the enclosure, you don't need to be putting a whole lot of new ones in there. Just make sure the humidity in your soil stays good. You're doing a great job with them, though.
Your friend Robert. I want to say our friend, but I've never met him. So
we're gonna have to change
your
all
friend
this.
Robert says, "Hello, Clint. Evolutionary history and taxonomy question for you. I know we've touched on the topic before in the one-to-ones, but I don't think we've ever teased out this particular facet. In relation to the evolution of snakes, do you hold with the classical fossorial lizard's origin point, or do you feel that the aquatic reptile's origin is more likely? Evolutionary adaptation occurring that resulted in snake-like bodies evolving. P.S. As a note from the last live stream, I'm glad Clint seems to enjoy my RP accent. I live in the north of the UK for over 10 years, which is a very different regional accent. So it always seems to throw people around me to hear how I sound when they know where I live. When they know. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a thing. I can't say very much over this because I am currently writing a paper on that subject with a third hypothesis that I think is more likely than either of the other two. And I will be submitting it probably to like the journal Nature or Evolution. And so
it's exciting.
Yeah, I can't, but I would be I would be opening myself up to being scooped on my idea. So anyway, we can talk about it though in a face-to-face. As long as you promise.
Sarah B. McCallum said, "I bought roach chow for my baby roaches, but I'm having second thoughts about feeding it to them. I've always fed them veggies as well as chow. Should I forgo the chow altogether?"
Oh, I wouldn't let your chow go to waste, but both seem to do well. What you could do if you really wanted to be a scientist about it is you could create like 4 different roach colonies and feed some of them. Oh, you could do all kinds of different treatments, but you could have one on just veggies and one on chow and veggies, and you can have one on just chow, and maybe do a few replicates of each and just see how the different groups do.
Let's see. This is from Betty Morgan. Oh, by the way, we use Clint uses his cockroaches for cleanup crew. So they clean it up. They're our garbage disposal. Okay, Betty Morgan said, "Did your green tree monitor proof the reptile room?" With a smiley face.
No. It's gonna be extremely well.
Did you green tree monitor?
It's gonna be almost impossible because the ceilings are like 25 feet high in the front. I honestly, there are light bulbs on the ceiling. I don't know how to change them. There are these long wands you can get for changing them, but they're not hanging straight down. They're out to the side. If anybody has any thoughts, if I can change these light bulbs or get up there to monitor-proof parts of the ceiling.
Scaffolding or something.
Yeah.
All right. Aurora sent a picture and actually was able to download it. So I'll bring my laptop over. She says, "This is just as of this morning. My snake shed in a circle. First of all, how? Second of all, why? Third of all, how? It's like she ate half her tail, then magically teleported out of her shed. It's a perfect circle. I managed to straighten the shed out, and there's a small tear in the cloaca, if that helps. I genuinely have never seen this before. How and why did she do this? Okay. Can you see it? It's reflecting.
I can kind of see it now. I want to see it myself. Okay. There's a very simple explanation, but it's a weird one. So just bear with me.
Oh no.
Aliens.
Yeah.
That looks like the work of aliens. I mean, we could make some guesses as to what happened. My guess is, here would be my guess, is that the snake essentially traveled in a circle and it went over the top of the shed as it exited. And so as the shed dried, it dried into a perfect circle, but it didn't like re-enter the shed on the other side. That would be my hypothesis. But I would have to examine the shed more completely.
Yes. Okay, Tori Rosecrans.
Rosecrans?
Roozekrans.
I think Rosecrans. Rosecrans. I knew a kid with that last name. That's what
I
he
know
called
people
himself.
can house tortoises together in groups. Is it possible for female tortoises to coexist without a male? I'm playing with the idea of eating subscription tortoises, but don't necessarily want to breed them.
I would say your best chance of having a really good social interaction between tortoises is going to be to have just females. Males like to flip each other over, and that can be dangerous for them, especially if you're not there to help them flip themselves back over. And then if you've got males and females in your group, yeah, they might get along. They might get along real well.
Bob Keeler said, thoughts on keeping two Indonesian blue-tongued skinks together? I
would not.
They're mean to each other.
If you built a big enough enclosure, they might be okay. All right, if the enclosure is big enough, they might not kill each other or rip each other's legs trying to make babies kink.
Luke Lewis, have 1, 2, 3, 4 more. 4 more Patreon questions. Then
4 more Patreons.
Okay, let's see. This is from Luke Lewis. How's your drilled lizard doing? Are you training him or is it already tame? Is it shy? I've been searching for the perfect lizard for months before I saw your video on the jeweled lizard. 2 days after watching your video, I had my own baby lizard. It's been about 3 months and I absolutely love him. He's a great eater, gotten much bigger, and is a very good pet. However, he's super shy and doesn't like to be handled. I've watched your videos with your reptiles and I've tried all the tips for a while now. He's better, but still not good to handle.
Yeah. That's kind of how mine is too. I haven't worked with him as much as I will, or as much as I will once I get him over to the room. Because where he is right now, if he gets away from me, he could really get away from me. The room, as bad as it is for things that might climb into the ceiling, it's a big space, and I can do a lot to jewel the proof it. But yeah, he's shy, but he also he loves to feed off tongs and stuff. He likes me. He just doesn't like for me to pick him up.
Interesting. And Johnson said, are there going to be normal hours for the reptile room? I was planning on coming Monday, but couldn't make it. It was great to see you at the expo, and my Tamara Boa is always available if you want to use it for video.
Oh boy. So yeah, the rest of this month, we'll do Mondays, Monday 5 to 9, Thursday, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. That'll be.
Liam Love's. I don't know how to do it on my laptop.
Okay, she doesn't know how to. Oh, it's on the laptop that is making all that noise. Okay. So anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and call me when you want.
Sorry. We've lost Leisha. So anyway, we will be open those days for the next little bit, and then in November we'll reassess exactly what our hours are going to be. We may add days. We'll just see. World's crazy right now. And what's next?
Sorry. So plan on coming in October because we don't know.
Can I close the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a snake now.
This is where we only go for 1 hour. It's
Yep.
been an hour and 7 minutes. Okay.
Everything falls apart right at the hour mark. It's like Cinderella. We never told you about this.
Daniel Gonzalez says, Hey there, Clint. Are snakes, particularly large snakes, colorblind? And a crazy question, why do you think that some reptiles enjoy being petted? We have a Cuban rock iguana that will practically fall asleep when we're petting him or push him into us for more rubs, but only when we pet certain places.
Okay, what did you say?
Body. Okay, sorry.
Just mute the computer. Mute the computer.
Thank you.
There we go.
My nephew Liam is best friends with Owen, and they're trying to set up a phone call right now. And he's a little boy, so that's why he keeps calling over and over. He's 8. Okay, sorry. Let's see. We have a Cuban rock iguana that will practically fall asleep when we're petting him or push into us for more rubs, but only when we pet certain places on his body. Keep up all the great work. We look forward to visiting the reptile room someday. Thank you.
The cyclid iguanas are so pleasant until they decide to bite your hand. But usually they're just great. They're really great. I love that. Look forward to seeing you.
And are they colorblind?
Oh, the colorblindness. I don't think so. In fact, a lot of snakes and lizards see into color spectra that we cannot, like ultraviolet. There's actually been quite a bit of work done on this, and the fossorial snakes.
I've heard of that word in my life.
Cells in your eyes, so they can detect several different colors, and I think some of them have. Some animals can be.
If I was an animal, I'd be biting.
Yeah.
I'd bite everyone who tried to hold me.
Yes, you would.
I'm a biting human, so I already bite everyone who tries to hold me.
Oh dear.
Okay, Raj says, "Oh, Clint, my girlfriend, sorry, Beyonce, still can't believe she said yes. Has had a deathly, oh my gosh, it's not a mammal fear of reptile and great her entire life. Thanks to you and Gus, she has acquired a new and wonderful yet cautious interest in her hairless but red dinosaur garden. However, we recently acquired a rather grumpy red tegu, supposedly a captive bred hatchling the size of my forearm. Do you have any advice on the best way to tame this beautiful beast, or at least a way to bring down the level of aggression so that he is handleable?"
He will probably mellow out over time as you work with him. I would say, have a lot of really positive interactions involving food. Don't feed him with your hands, though. Feed him with tongues. Work on target training with him so that he differentiates between feeding time and handling time. But tegus, even the ones they pull out of the Everglades, most of those seem to mellow out pretty well. So just keep working with it. Make everything positive. Don't restrain it.
We're done with Patreon.
Done with Patreon.
One more super chat.
Final super chat.
And then we can Cinderella on our way.
We can Cinderella on our way. Bippity boppity.
Bippity boppity do. Victoria said, "Hi, Clint and Alicia, watching for my first live stream." Okay, she already said that. Why did she send that again?
She's awesome.
Yeah. Hi, Clint and Alicia, watching my first live stream with my mom. I love it.
Well, I am so glad that you're here. And speaking of Bippity Boppity, this was not intentional, but is there a Bippity Boppity video coming out in a second on your channel? Alicia made a ridiculously cute Bippity Boppity costume for Bros. And anyway, it's really amazing.
And there's a picture of you as the Mad Hatter on me.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, if you want to see the craziest image of all time, go check out Alicia's video on her channel, Why Not Me? And is that like right this second?
So it's on my hard drive. I just have to upload it.
Okay, so in a few minutes.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We love you guys. Don't forget our new video coming out tomorrow. Thank you guys for saving the room. Please continue to do face-to-faces because the room still needs saving, but it's making it. It's making it. As always, like and subscribe, and we will see you real soon.